Now, what can you say about, the recent news that we've been getting about the very contradicting news? On the one hand, we have the Netherlands, who has decided to cut funding to White Helmets over their alleged links to terrorism. And on the other hand, you have the UK welcoming members of the White Helmets and their families to the country. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, to understand the White Helmets is to understand that we live in an incredibly inverted world where everything's upside down. We have terrorists who are called moderate rebels. We have a United States government that says it fights terrorism when Washington is the global epicenter of state-sponsored terrorism. We've got Silicon Valley giants saying they're going to stop influence of U.S. elections, while through their censorship and search engines, they're absolutely influencing U.S. elections. And in the same theme, the White Helmets are called brave volunteers and true modern-day heroes when they're fundamentally connected to the proxy army of terrorists that have been ultimately controlled by the US and, of course, the UK. That's why the UK are so happy to so-called resettle White Helmets. In fact, it's an evacuation. It's an evacuation of people who have been now pushed into this enclave of Idlib, thanks to Syrian and Russian intervention. And basically, they've got nowhere else to go. Those that have been caught in other enclaves, there was an example recently where the US, the UK, and Israel combined to get them out through the Golan Heights. It's all gone pear-shaped, basically, because the drip, 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 drip of the alternative media and the alternative view has basically cumulatively combined to show the White Helmets, or the people of the world, what the White Helmets really are. And so repatriating them is what you would expect. And also, of course, they want to keep control of what these people say, because there's so much that these White Helmets, from their experience, could actually tell the world about actually what they were really doing and who was really funding them. And of course, from the UK angle, we should not forget that the White Helmets were actually created by a British Army officer and mercenary called James Le Mesurier, who's very much involved in military intelligence. And as soon as he created them in Turkey in 2013, suddenly, just by coincidence, about $125 million of aid from the US, UK, and other countries started heading the way of the White Helmets. And there's a quote by a UK admiral, a guy called Sir Philip Jones. He's chief of the naval staff, who he wasn't talking about the White Helmets, but he captured it in one sentence. He said about military techniques, the hard punch of military power is often delivered inside the kid glove of humanitarian relief. And the White Helmets are an absolutely fundamental example of this. And this is why people like George Soros and his Open Society Foundation, NGOs, through humanitarian excuses, are manipulating politically in country after country. It's an old technique.
Right. So now, do you think there's a risk involved to UK citizens in the resettling of the White Helmets? Is there any chance that there could be actually people with very radical, dangerously radical sentiments?
Well, put it this way. You have a situation where people are being repatriated to the UK and resettled, as they call it, who have been involved in B-movie rescues, exploiting children, pulling them from behind rubble, saving them from Assad's bombs when actually the child has no dust on them and they're holding a pristine rag doll that's straight out of the packaging. You've had White Helmets who have faked chemical attacks to justify U.S. Missile attacks on Assad. So you're not dealing with rational people. You're dealing with deeply disturbed people. You have only to go on the internet to see footage of the White Helmets absolutely working together with ISIS at the time of people being shot and all the rest of it. So that they're very, very disturbed people. But we should not forget this. You see, the UK has an horrendous record, like the US, of sponsoring terrorism and using terrorists for its own ends. I mean, the Prime Minister who's overseeing this White Helmets resettlement, Theresa May, was Home Secretary when people from UK-based Libyan families were allowed to move between Libya and the UK without question when they were seeking to, which was the, of course, plan of the UK and the US and NATO, to remove Gaddafi. And one of the people from those families involved in that was later blamed for the Manchester Arena bombing in 2017, which killed 23 people and wounded 139, half of them children. So when you do mess with very disturbed people for your own ends, there is a kickback potential, very much so, yes.
Right. And so to what extent, I mean, the Netherlands has decided to cut the funding. To what extent do you think that the true nature of the White Helmets has become known to what part of the world? I mean, how many people, how many countries have actually acknowledged or understand the true nature? And
well, I think the United States and the UK have understood the true nature of what they are from the start. That's why they were funding them, because they were serving their interests in trying to unseat Assad in Syria. But I think those that weren't, if you like, in on it from the start, they are more and more beginning to see that there's a hoax going on here.